Here we are, guys, probably the least glamorous of all the P's, but fundamentally important, and especially in today's online environment where online buying and selling has just gone gangbusters for the last few years. We're all into it, your generation in particular, are buying lots of different things from lots of different places. So again, I'm going to go through this quickly. I've got a lot of introductory videos set up in the Moodle book. This is just to give you an overview. Some of the tables in here are brilliant. In terms of retailing, it's got some really good stuff in it. So let's quickly go through. A lot of it I will miss because it just isn't that fundamentally important in a MARK 101 class. So first example they give is fresh milk to China. Look, getting things overseas freaks me out, getting it so quickly. I used to work at a store where next door they would catch yellowfin tuna, and within 24 hours it was in the fish markets in Japan, commanding massive amounts of money. This is scary. The amount of fresh produce we can get overseas is just a classic example of getting a product to a market that wants it. Now, again, obviously, putting products in the hands of consumers is known as distribution or place. So you need a network. I think we've figured that out. Now, marketing intermediaries, distribution channels, just how it gets there. The quickest ways, guys, just have a look at the diagrams and you'll see that what they're talking about is here, if you had individual brands, they would only have limited exposure to the population on the left. You go through an intermediary, it goes to a shop like Woolies, Coles, Aldi, and you just get a lot more product in front of the consumer. Now, this is interesting. These are classic marketing multiple choice questions, intensive distribution. Every possible intermediary. I used to joke that you'd get mobile phones at kebab stands that have become that prevalent. Now, exclusive distribution, single intermediary. Now this could be bike stores, which is probably more selective distribution. Exclusive distribution, try buying a Rolex legally in Wollongong. You can't do it. You have to go to Martin Place, and that is an experience and a half going through there. So learn the differences. Again, it comes back to what the customer feels. Exclusive distribution, you're paying a lot of money. You've got your luxury car dealerships. You go there, right? It's part of the buying experience for you. Now here you've just got your classic distribution channels to, normally this is shown with all of them in one diagram. It just explains the process. It's just a matter of how many middlemen before the consumer gets in and realise when an agent, wholesaler, retailer are involved, they're all taking a cut out of the profit margin and inflating the price to the consumer. Now, supply chain management is literally looking at the whole process of getting a product to your customer. Now, if you can do this effectively and cheaper than your competitor, it gives you instant profitability. Because if you can't raise the price but you can lower your costs, you win. You're more profitable. Now, what have we got? Some nice little definitions, guys. Look, these are about how much of your own distribution network do you own. Ford used to own half of its car yards, the other half were franchises. You manufacture and you set up your own distribution. Rolex owns its own Rolex outlets. So a lot of it is to what extent do you set it up where you control how your product gets to the customer. We all know what franchises are, Portos and so forth. Again, these are the fundamental principles. Have a read of it. It's not terribly exciting. Necessary to know, but not exciting. So distribution of goods, guys, look, in terms of physical distribution, have a read of this because it actually tells you the key aspects that are involved in distribution. Order processing, inventory management, and making sure you've got enough stock, warehouse, where do you keep it, and how do you get it there. We could read for ages, and this diagram just explains the whole process. right? How do we get stuff to customers? And here are the specific aspects. They don't do it for me. Same as modes of transport. This is just a yes, no, is it useful? What's most effective? What are the costs? All right, nice but boring. I like this on toll logistics sustainability. They really are trying to introduce some good initiatives. They move so much stock across the country. I liked it. It's a nice little example of companies trying to address climate change sustainability. Now, again, we have the major activities and distribution of services. Again, it's just scheduling when they're available, blah, blah, not very exciting as well. Now, retailing, guys, you would have grown up being dragged as kids to stores. You've now progressed to online. A lot of the major retailers just around the world are just absolutely crashing and burning. Customers are abandoning them. They're not happy with the product offerings. Myer has lost from being valued in the billions is now 400 million. David Jones is crashing. They try to reinvent themselves with posh food malls and areas, and I think it's just going to come crashing down on them. So again, guys, we're looking at what do you do in terms of retail strategy. Again, this is one where it's just, I've got a few videos. It's a moving feast. What do you do? I mean, who's going to commit to putting stores in when they've got fixed costs, fixed salaries? Flight Centre has obviously crashed due to the environment, but prior to that, a lot of the other major retailers, put a search term in major Australian retail failures, and you'll see in the last 6 months it's been accelerated. Again, this just explains what are the benefits, obviously how close, who else, big supermarkets, they're great, but a lot of the times I'll walk through these places and go, there's no one in there. I mean, I can't hear the turnover. I can't see the dollars, the credit cards flying, how they're buying. A lot of the retailers are using the storefronts pretty much to support a growing online presence. Now, again, positioning. Retail positioning refers to the practice of identifying a gap in the market and targeting by creating some distinguishing feature in the mind of the customers. Now, David Jones has tried this to be the best department store and just crashed. Do we really care? Is this an old model? Is it the same as providing live lectures, which is definitely a topic of conversation? Do you guys need to drive down from somewhere to listen to me yak on for 2 hours, when clearly there are other alternative modes of delivering information? Now, benefit of retailers is just common sense. This is still an interesting one, the advice and personal service. There are certain times going in, looking at new furniture. JB Hi-Fi do this really well. Harvey Norman are great. We were looking at a range hood, one blew up in the kitchen. Talking to the staff, they really knew their material. I usually don't buy it from Harvey Norman, but right price, good advice, and we purchased it. Now I've just got to install it. Now, specialty retailers, guys, I love this. It's got nice little examples here. Why? Please go through this. This is a beautiful table, right? Category killers. Walmart in America just crushes it. Off-price retailers, factory outlets. I went down to Melbourne and was smart enough. My daughter was 13 at the time. I looked at the two young sales assistants and went, you look like you know what you're doing. What would you buy for a 13-year-old girl? I ended up buying a lot of clothes. I wouldn't have picked any of them. I had no idea. Went home, and the first thing my daughter and wife said when they looked at it after saying, gee, these are great, they went, you didn't pick these? And I went, yeah, thanks. But again, back to in-store promotion, how they help you. Look, pop-up stores are happening everywhere. You now have pop-up food vans. So, guys, this is just a general introduction, but really this is where a lot of the branding, the money we spend as marketers, this is where the turnover comes into it. Getting our products in here. Where will they sell? Coles charges for shelf space. So does Woolies. I mean, I love your discount stores. Target is dying at the moment. It's having real issues being positioned, and Big W in the minds and hearts of consumers. Myer, David Jones, they're just going down. That's it. There's no value there, and that's a problem, or it's diminishing to different generations. Hypermarkets, we've got Costco coming over, which is just massive. Here it is. Well, they're superstores, hypermarkets, sorry for the confusion, products and characteristics, and a discount store. Bigger buying power, and they reduce it. So where do you shop is a question I put to you. What percentage of your dollar goes to these places? Really interesting. Online retailing, guys, I've got some, the wheel of retailing theory. It's just about getting people in, charge low prices. What do you do? How do you add greater value? The online retailing, this is, I've got a few videos there. There's an IBIS report in your Moodle site on online sales in Australia. I strongly recommend you look at it. A lot of jobs for marketers are in online retailing. It's definitely interesting. What you can buy, what your risk tolerance is for buying. We bought off eBay a lounge years ago. It took 5 months to get our money back. They didn't provide the product. It was a disaster. Not in a hurry to do it again. Hence went Harvey Norman. They're on fire. That's 2 out of 2 purchases where we bought a lounge recently. Now, look, you've got your classic direct marketing. You go phone, the web to promote products, telemarketing. It's been a while since anyone has called up trying to sell. I think charities use this a lot. I know a lot of you, literally the moment you realise as a telemarketer, the conversation's over in a second. Catalogues, people still like the catalogues. I like the weekly specials that you get a whole pile delivered to your house. Direct response, mail, internet to make a purchase, television, home shopping, it still goes on. It cracks me up. Not so much door-to-door selling recently. Charities use this a lot. You still get guys coming along with solar panels, or if you want your roof gutters sorted out. Clearly not very useful if you're in an apartment block. Vending machines, it cracks me up what we can get. So, I mean, some of the countries overseas, what they put in their vending machines is frightening, but hot pizzas, it's a blowout. Here are some of the examples. I love Japan. First time ever walking down the street, I point out to one of my fellow lecturers, Alan Pomeroy, going, mate, are they seriously selling beer in the street? We put money in just to get a can and say we got a can of beer in the middle of a street. What a civilized country. Alright, so what else have we got? Pretty much, guys, that's it. We're done and dusted for distribution. The biggest focus and interest for me is online versus offline, the challenges, Maya. That may be a potential question. I'll sort that out and see how we go with it. But really, these are just definitions. If you're in a supply chain management, definitely have a read. For us, we don't need it so much. As you can see, I've only highlighted these 2 sections here and a few of the definitions that might be multiple choice. And that's it for place. Once upon a time, retail was king. Still, for many of your holidays going Hawaii to the discount stores, there's one of the biggest purchases I've done in recent years when the Australian dollar was on parity. Came back with a ton of Adidas and golfing gear. And so my kids, I have a picture of 17 pairs of shoes in a trolley. Kids went wild. Alright guys, that'll do.